Hello and welcome back to Catch and Cook California. I'm Kevin. Today we are foraging for Lottia gigantea, the owl limpet. Cousin to the abalone and absolutely delicious. Let's go. So the preferred habitat of the owl limpet are going to be these sort of wide open bedrock formations that stick way out as points into the open ocean. They don't really like this stuff that's covered with mussels. It gives them really nowhere to move around. They like this bare rock where they can bulldoze out some of the barnacles and mussels, and there's plenty of space for them to move around and cultivate their seaweed patch. So when I'm out here and I'm going for owl limpets, gloves are essential. You're trying to push these guys parallel to the rock to slide and break the suction. Very low profile angle here, a little higher profile, almost 90 degrees here. I always try to go from this direction if possible to catch right there. It allows me to push it off of the rock a little bit more easily. That foot right there acts like a suction cup. If it's sitting on the rock like this, if I come by and I bump it, it's gonna suck down. If you don't get it off the rock immediately, it's gonna do one of these and stick to the rock. Now you're allowed 35 per day, but we do not need to take our limit. As a matter of fact, I'm probably only going to take about 8 today. And I really hope that you also cultivate this type of approach to the intertidal. These resources are limited. And while 35 per day is the bag limit, and that is based on sound science, there's more and more foragers every year. And if every single one of us takes the limit, mark my words, they will drop the bag limit. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Kevin. I'm a doctor of anthropology. Specifically, I'm an archaeologist, and more specifically, I study California coastal indigenous adaptations. Having studied for years in California coastal archaeological sites, I can tell you that these guys, Lottia gigantea, show up in the archaeological record here over 10,000 years ago. This right here is old school California cuisine for a reason. So what you'll see on the rock are concentric rings all around the limpet, and you'll even see usually one little central spot that looks like that's where he's been hanging out a lot. That's his safe refuge, and that's where he goes to sleep. I say he, except that all of these are born male, and then partway through their life cycle will switch to female. Super cool animal. They use the very edge of their shell here to bulldoze a patch. So scrape all of the barnacles and all of the mussels off the rock, and then they tend that patch so that seaweed can grow there, so that they can continue to come through and eat that seaweed, just like a cow in a micro pasture. All right, so I got my 7. That's all I need today. There's a ton more out here. I'm gonna leave them be so they can continue to reproduce, and maybe you'll get an opportunity to come out and get some as well. But this is Catch and Cook, so I'm gonna grab my meat mallet, we're gonna tenderize them, and then we're gonna cook them. Got my limpets here. First things first, I wanna dispatch them and take them out of the shell. So you can see the head of the limpet right here. I'm just gonna take the knife and cut it off. Kill it real quickly, that way it doesn't suffer. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this butter knife right along the inside of the shell, just turning, bringing up the mantle, so it'll come out looking something like that. I'm gonna grab the gut here, get a hold of it, pull that whole thing off right there. Same thing with this one. Pull that whole thing off. Just gonna grab this and wipe it out. Nice coastal weather. The limpets are nice and clean. Time to tenderize. Now I'm gonna make cuts right in here. While the oil's heating up, I want to read a very quick passage from my good buddy Kirk Lombard's The Sea Forager's Guide to the North Coast, Lottia gigantea. I want to read this because this is exactly how I feel about this species. Just because you can legally take 35 owl limpets per day does not mean you should. Put it this way, say you are out poke poling and you come across a nice little patch of lunker owl limpets. The next day you round up a couple of like-minded coastal foragers, and together the three of you descend on this patch of limpets with wild looks on your faces and sharpened hooks and lines in your hands. Following the rules and regulations to a T, you leave the area with a legal catch of 105 large limpets. Good work. You've just ruined the spot for 20 years. That's how long it's likely to take for the limpets to come back to this patch of rocks. Whereas, had you selected 10 or 12 of the largest limpets and satisfied yourselves with that number, you could come back the next year after that, and so on. If you're thinking about serving limpets as a main course for 10 people, you're thinking about the resource the wrong way. So Kirk and I are on the same page with that. I really do recommend, if you're gonna go out, definitely give these a try. They're super, super tasty, but remember, you know, they live their entire life on one rock or maybe two rocks, and they're very much susceptible to overharvest. The one thing that kind of limits a lot of us from overharvesting is you can only take them with your hands. But there are poachers out there who don't care, and they will go with prying devices to get these. So keep your limpet spots quiet. And for those of us who do care about the rules, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I gotta say it, take 2 off of this rock, 2 off of that rock, 2 off of that rock. We get 6 of them, we give them a try, a nice little appetizer. And then we go catch an eel for the main course. I'm gonna get Kirk out on this channel at some point. He's a great guy and super knowledgeable. If it's not on your shelf, get it on your shelf, or better yet, put it in a knapsack, go out to the beach at the next low tide, and put this information to work. So excited about this. I love limpets. I think it's partly because it reminds me of abalone back in the day. Look at that. Ooh-wee. So they call it an owl limpet because apparently the muscle scar on the inside of the shell kind of looks like an owl seated on a limb. Kind of cool. Also makes a great little dish for serving your sauce. Super simple. Sweet chili sauce. Got our fried limpets, sweet chili sauce, and a wild seaweed salad. Going right into this chili garlic sauce. There we go. Man, I don't want to upsell it too much because it's not abalone, okay? It's definitely not. I grew up diving for abalone. It's not abalone, but man, it's definitely a close cousin. That is amazing. It's really tasty. I'm gonna polish this off, and before I sign off, I will be at the Stonestown Galleria this Saturday, July 13th for the Fisherman's Life Street Fair. I hope to see you there. I'll have some merch, some shirts and stickers and some poke poles and things like that for sale. And I'll be mainly just talking about my guide service and hoping to meet some of you folks and talk about foraging. Live music, good food, all your favorite local West Coast YouTubers and Instagrammers, everybody in the fishing community will all be there. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, leave a comment. I love hearing back from you. Please consider sharing this video, and until next time, keep the old ways alive. If you disturb them at all like this, that's it. Maybe not.